First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. The Wada Yah by Hashem Yahweh Shai. The Wada Yah by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So, back here again, as we're seeing a lot of major worldwide events are happening, as we're seeing a complete, volatility of the stock market. We're seeing world as every conversation, every move of these political leaders is causing complete world upheaval. We're seeing Trump as a madman being in the helm of the American society, basically just doing whatever he thinks is deemed necessary to pretty much for itself to see. We're seeing a selfish game. That's how we know we're at the end. And as we saying, as the scriptures say, let me grab that. And again, the Wada Yah by Shemel Shai for another day. Let me grab this real quick. This is how we know we're at the end. Because governors, politicians, just a regular American citizen, which is the Babylonian, to the world stage. Everybody is about themselves. And we're seeing that movement being, because look, people who really don't even care what's happening. Shalom to the brother Ralph Vasquez. Yeah, but stop and come to the house. So let me grab this. It's a complete divide in the earth. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, and chapter 3, verse 1. And this also, that in the last days perilous time shall come. And we've been in the last days, but we're in the last seconds of the days because we see how people are moving. Salakia. We're seeing people moving, and especially these politicians, these kings, these countries. They all have a selfish self-preservation spirit upon them. And even these American citizens, even these world citizens. See, India, everybody is moving for their own self-interest. You're seeing what's happening in China. But China's not moving because ultimately, basically, they are basically saying, oh, we're just going to build up until we have to fight. You're seeing Russia, they're not moving too fast because, everything's about self-preservation. And as America, knowing that their end is coming, as we're seeing the United States currency, which is the US dollar, collapsing as we speak. We're seeing that heavy debt that has been ultimately circulating and been collapsing since the 1970s, since the gold standard was taken off, now coming to a head. We're seeing the end of as you've seen a lot of men saying, and even people that weren't men of the Lord, like you've seen Malcolm X, the chickens are coming home to roost. Hey, shalom to the brother Ashrakah. You have a stop and come to you also. You're seeing the chickens come home to roost. And all these things as Taco, Trump always chickens out as talking about this Greenland deal, which ultimately he's just saving face. But in the world stage, they're laughing at him because he didn't do anything. He literally just, we're just going to go back to the 1951 deal. Which it's still not going to work out because, again, the reason why as Canada, as Greenland, why these minerals have not been taken out is because these are harsh environments that need a lot of investment to come out. So it was just a play. It was just a political move to ultimately force nations to bend the knee so they can see how much power they have. But now you're seeing the power of these people being felt. And that's how you know we're in the last days. Shalom to the brother Habas Shana. So as these countries, everything into the common day citizen, there's a complete divide. Let me grab this. I didn't hear. Let me grab this real quick. This is Luke chapter 12, verse 49. and I had come to send fire on the earth. And what will it if it already be kindled? And it been killed since these devils got in power. Since these people in this unrighteous generation have came in fruition, that it was always going to be a divide. These people are not godly. God is not in their thoughts. So since they've been moving and pressing on, what I should do for myself, what I should do to gain ability to take care of myself, fuck everybody else. Now you're seeing it being put before your eyes. These countries, see, these are allies. Remember, these tariffs are basically illegal. As what was the EU? It was a trade. You know, first it was the ECC, or what is it? If a brother can put it on, it was the European Economic Trade Committee. It was something like that, which became the that's a trade. That is a trade alliance. But since these tariffs, and now Trump said, man, forget it. Which he ultimately chickened out, because it's just a political move, because they know that all these nations are through, especially the bottomless pit, which is, hey, shalom to the brother. Oh, Salakia. Is it better? Hey, shalom to the brother, Yawanathon. Stop and if a brother, hey, shalom to the brother Jacob Israel, and to the brother, if it's better, Salakia. You know, I wasn't paying attention. But going back, for I have sent fire on the earth, and what will it if it already be kindled? And that's what it is. It's a complete divide. War is on the horizon. Famine. Why? Because the complexity that the Heavenly Father has brought before the earth, and lack of resources. And what is everybody there, as they say, game theory, or as they even go into, you know, self-preservation of countries on their own sovereignty, are being pretty much challenged. The nations are moving in such a way, they said, well, we just trying to worry about ourselves. And that's the spirit, because the Heavenly Father said he was going to bring a complete divide on the earth. That is so divided that even people of their own countrymen are fighting it out. Seeing they brought forth immigrants, they're not worried about how your nation's going to survive. They're building something new. Because what did you do? You came over to their country and destroyed it. And now, everything that the devil has been doing, the heavy debt that Abatim, that they have continued to push on everybody, them going rape, rob, and murdering, now it is all coming to fruition, and now they're pointing the finger. Hey, the water, brother. The EEC, European Economic Community, that's where it became the EU, which was a trade. You know, after the Treaty of Rome, that's what brought forth, you know, this real beast system, which that was the NATO, that's a military treaty. You know, you go into Article 5 and all that stuff. But then it was a trade. This is what really controlled the earth, because remember, wars are won by power. And what is the power in this modern day? Economic means are the gold, silver, you know, as now it's the petrodollar. But it was before that, it was the Britain pound, which that was the world currency before before World War I. After World War I, it started to it fell through. And then United States came in after World War II. I believe in 1944 was when they really did, because they were not fighting the war. But see, this thing that has been pushed as America, they won and beat all this war, was they haven't even won World War I or II. That was won by other nations, including Russia in World War II. But you see these things. Now people are starting to see this nation that has such economic control has failed. And now we're seeing it coming to fruition. The chickens are coming home to roost. Let me grab this. This is Psalm chapter 144, verse 1. A song of David. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teaches my hands to war. And see, we are now at the spiritual war, because as everybody's going throughout the earth, the men of the Lord, they're practicing what's going to happen. Because look it, let me grab this. Because the spirit of Egypt has failed. You know, people are not buying it. See, people are exposed. They have no hope. The world is languishing. And now they're looking for answers. Let me grab this. Lock in. I'm just grabbing a priest. This is this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, I'm gonna start at verse 5. As I started off with a shalom to the brother Michael La'ab. I started off with Luke, the 12th chapter. He said he was going to clean division on the earth, a fire on the earth. What it be already kindled. Second Ezra, if a brother wants to put it in the 16th chapter, put it that he has sent those, where I want. Going back into it, this is, for no power of the fire might give them light, neither come the brightness of flames of the stars endure the light. Remember, at the horrible night, it's in Psalms. The Heavenly Father has said he was going to bring plagues like before, and that plagues of darkness. That he said he was going to send evil angels. And that's what it is. The angels, these as people would call them, these demonic spirits, jumping on people. The Heavenly Father said, on like what he did to King Ahab. He said, put in lying spirits, deceiving spirits. And that's what he's doing to the council of Esau. And all these European leaders, all of them putting them on a selfish spirit, lying and said, all right, this is what move you need to do. See, even the nations that America was going to use to pretty much balance out BRICS, now everybody else is going against them, even their own allies. Because you're seeing what's happening. These European nations are now buying from China, and then India won't need United States anymore. And Europe is going to be a good trading partner for them, because Europe doesn't have anything other than the banking system and territory used for war. These borders, and now as India has failed, and now they're actually competing against their mortal enemy. But you're seeing it happen, world against people, nation against nation, all coming out. But we're seeing that the Heavenly Father is bringing a darkness. He said gross darkness has come on the earth. And now everybody is confused, and they're looking for what's that next light. We know we have the light. And what is these nations? When people are scared, what do? Like, as when people in the world, when they're scared, they get guns, right? And a gun gives them a sense of power. Well, now these nations are pointing guns at each other because they need security. And ultimately, let me grab the brother's precept that he grabbed. This is 2nd Ezra, the water to the brother. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 3. And a sword is sitting upon you, who may turn it back. So the Heavenly Father is putting war. See, as they call this devil Trump, the Prince of Peace, he stopped which he didn't, because they're all actively still going on as we speak. What happened in Sudan, Ukraine. Ukraine is about to fall. Well, basically, when it hits Odessa, meaning Ukraine has already been taken over, and that's a strong point. Remember, the reason why Ukraine is so important is because that's for the Soviet Union, the new Soviet Union, which is being manifested as we speak, as you see in Gog and Magog, which is Russia being it. They need that area, basically, all for naval dominance in the Baltic region. That's the reason why they're fighting for. And it also has to be where is the a third of the world's carbohydrates is being. So they already took that over, and that is going to affect the European Union, as they say, which now Trump is trying to strong on them to give them resources needed for their survival. That they have to fight for war. They have to go into other nations. They have to make deals with these other countries that are actively going against the U.S. dollar, which is bringing forth war. So war is unavoidable. It has to be happening. Why? Because this is for nation sovereignty, not even for their survival. So, see, Edomite, he's not willing to commit political suicide. Just imagine, all right, you guys don't have to go through. Imagine a politician says, actually, some of you guys are going to have to starve. Actually, most of you. Actually, our currency is done. We don't have the resources to feed the people and to continue to live the way of life that you've been used to living. You know what these people would do? They would burn they would burn the city down. So what do? They have to continue to lie, and they have to go to war. And now they're starting to go to war at their own doors. Remember, he said, keep it until it gets to the gates of the nobles. Well, it has reached them. And now even the elite are attacking each other. New class of elite. You're seeing what Trump is. And then the old ones. That's why what's happening with the EU and NATO. And America. That's the beast shall hate the whore. You're seeing it being pushed before your eyes. And he said, and who may turn it back? A fire is sitting among you. Who will quench it? So you're not going to have some major peacemaker. They said William Churchill. He was a peace. This nigga was a devil, a demon, and he didn't do anything. But see, this is what this guy, he can be able to trick these nations into. All these, pretty much when America was about to collapse in 1974, how they got the OPEC, making a deal maker to stop the impending fall. All these Russian leaders, the president of Italy, none of them are going to be able to stop this war. Is nobody going to be able to, Putin, he's out. No, nothing's going to happen. What's going to happen, as the Heavenly Father said, he's just going to have these nations shoot nuclear missiles upon America, Babylon the Great, and this place is going to be decimated, and you Edomites and you nations are going into slavery. That's what's going to happen. Thus said the Lord. And that's what's going to happen. He said, how ironic that a U.S. F-35 end up missing from Japanese airspace. Because, see, America still owes Saudi Arabia. That's why they are really not want to deal with America like that. Because, that OPEC deal was really about their safety. But now you're seeing them, Israel is just encroaching on everybody. And the most rich mineral land that is needed, those fake Israelis, those gutter rats, have to take it to put forth their greater Israel pact. If you go into the Israeli army's patch, what's on it? The Greater Israel Project, or Pax Judaicus. So they see these things, and America's not going to protect them. They're just justifying these other demons on bombing them. So you're seeing these things being missing, and they know that it's coming to an end because the F-35 needs a vast amount of resources that America does not have, including silver, copper, that now these companies are starting to buy their own mines. And that's how crazy is getting with this perplexity, which is lack of resources. So you're seeing that these nations are preparing for war, and that's what's happening. Let me grab that real quick. Now you're seeing now these it's as what does it say? It's no honor among thieves. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, to all these heathen, not the one, the actual heathens that are going to be going into slavery, proclaiming it among them. Tell them, this is what you need to tell, not that they're going to be saved, that they're about to ready to fight a war that's going to end all their rulership. Prepare war! Prepare! Understand that it's a time that is going to end for your power. Prepare it. Wake up the mighty men. All these soldiers, all these people are ready. Start having, start getting the draft papers ready. Start training up, doing your military exercises. Start your strategic partners together. That's why you see it. See, it has never been Pakistan, Turkey. You're seeing strategic partnerships, Saudi Arabia. You're starting to see more, which is in complete economic upheaval and civil unrest. You're seeing all these nations now starting to strategically get with nations that will be best for themselves. Remember, as Yahushua said, he has set fire on this earth. What it be if it already be kindled? He said, I have sent a fire on the earth. Who shall quench it? That's what's happening. And he said, and let all the men of war draw near. And that's what's happening. That's why you're seeing these high-risk moves that all these nations do. They're just sitting military men. They're training people. They're getting ready. They're setting up. See, when nationalism is starting to speak, every time, this is what happens. Propaganda and nationalism, you think it has to do anything with migrants, or are they just trying to unite the nations to rise up and fight for their, as they say, sovereignty? Which you don't have sovereignty because you are owned by the elites. But what? They're playing a game of risk. Why? Because they understand that someone's going to have it and someone's not going to have it. It's a complete, change of the ages. But see, they don't understand who's going to win it. You know who's going to win it? The Israelites, the so-called black, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans, which are God's chosen people. Which ultimately, as these nations, they can prepare and do all they want. At the end of the day, all of them are going into slavery, thus said the Lord. Let me finish this precept and then I'll go back to it. He said, 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, verse 4. A fire is sent among you, who may quench it. Plagues are sent unto you. And what is he that may drive them away? Who's going to stop these things? See, right now it's an energy crisis in the EU, in the European nations. And who's going to be able to stop them? It's plagues that are hitting. Disease has happened. It has never been such a disease-ridden world ever, even when it was in the time of the Black Plague, as they say. Bubonic and I forgot the other name for it. Plague. It never been like this. That people are dying from heart disease, everything. This is the most disease it has ever been, that people have to fight for these main little tiny resources and to be able to eat. Because remember, when someone's used to something, they don't want to give it up. So look at who's going to be able to quench these plagues, the wounds. So you're seeing, as every nation is taking a hit, that even no matter what, none of them have a hit, that ultimately they have to go to war. And he said, may drive away a hungry lion in the woods. May any man quench the fire of stubble when it shall begin to burn. So who's going to be able to stop these things? Who has the water hose to stop the fire of the Lord? Who's going to be able, as Esau Edom, as Trump, what is he doing? He's at the golden, this is what as Greenland's deal. Oh, a sliver of land so we can have the golden dome. What is that going to do? None of those missiles are going to miss it. Let me grab it. It's in the same chapter. This is 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. So the Heavenly Father, he has the angels playing with the mind, just as in the time, I think it was Darius the Mede, when he had it for the 21 days that he had, basically playing with the minds of these kings. So you see in Proverbs, the 21st chapter, that they're ready to shoot, they're already ready for it. Right now, they're just trying to get in a better position so they, as they say, collateral damage. Basically, they're trying to do as much risk control as possible. But it's not going to be able to stop it. You can't stop what's going to being put on the earth. See, and this is why these Edomites are through. That's why they are, they're invested in all these gold. That gold's not going to do anything for it. Remember, you're going to throw it up. They're invested in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is nonsense. Hey, shalom to the brother Shadia Kahan. You have stopped and come to your household. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bows. So the Heavenly Father has the angels, started from Yahweh Shai, as leading these angels, the eyes of the Lord, to control the minds of these kings. And they already have it ready. That's why you see in these strategic partnerships, because they're getting ready. They know that something has to happen, as they know that is it is what they call a change of the ages. When a superpower, which is a superpower that has been leading, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. And may let me grab this. I'm going to finish that precept, but because I grabbed it, I'm going to grab this. This is Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise up and cause to come against Babylon a great assembly of great nations from the north countries. Well, that north country starting with, he said, Babylon shall be a guard unto the nations. So as he said, strong is the right hand, meaning the Lord is controlling these nations to get ready to shoot missiles, to get ready to kill and burn this whore. Say, burn the flesh upon her. That's what it's going to be. And you can't stop it. And he said, and they shall set themselves array against her. He said, strong is the right hand. He said, they shall set them astray against her. He's saying all these nations are now against her. Array, let's get into NLT. For I am rising up an army of a great nation from the north, and they will join forces to attack Babylon. This is why you see what's happening with the, this Greenland deal. Greenland is actually a non-factor. It's just as what AI is, speculation. AI has really have no benefit other than government surveillance, because it really doesn't make money. It doesn't make sense. It costs too much. But the reason why they have to push for it, because it needed for them to control, stay in power. And they have to keep pushing there. They have to increase the stock market to high. See, what Esau, this is why gold and silver, see, this is how cold the Heavenly Father is. No matter what, the Heavenly Father has to drive, the Heavenly Father is driving up the gold. That's what he said, how ye in the fish gate. That now the US dollar is collapsing. Remember, Esau Edom used this to take out the gold standard. He had to collapse and pretty much have the US dollar offset it for a petrodollar in the war. But now because these companies need it and it's a shortage on it, they have to continue to buy it, and people are seeing that now people are not buying, as the brother put. Let me grab this. And that's the spirit. I'm going to read that. Well, let me read this first. It's Isaiah chapter 46, verse 6. Or 47, verse 6. For I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my own inheritance and given them into thy hand. And thou didst showeth them no mercy. And upon the ancient thou laid a heavy yoke upon it. So Esau Edom has never stopped beating the nations, beating our people, Salakia, the tribes of Israel. They have never continued. What have they been doing? That now everybody has turned against them. Even the people that, because remember, Israel was the most forgiving, loving, this devil ever. But now they don't even have the warriors to fight them now. Now everybody has turned against them. And that, because I actually wanted something else. Let me grab that, and then I grab Brother's precepts. It's Isaiah chapter 47, verse 12. Stand now by thy enchantments, with the multitude of thy sorceries, which thou hast labored in thy youth. So now people are not buying it, and you just have to stand, oh, well, you know, as trying to get a remnants of you guys have control of the market. Oh yeah, we can just do this, or, you know, these stuff. But people are not buying it anymore. See, these moves and these, like last time, see, even like 2 months ago, Trump can play this game and do all that stuff, and gold would have rose and it just completely collapsed. Remember in 2024. Remember in 2023. Oh yeah, well, actually we do have full control. You don't have control over it because people are not buying it anymore. These countries are they're seeing that it's no shortage, there's shortage of it. That these, on what they need to do, they don't have the necessary resources, which is going back into the perplexity. So people are seeing that you can't trust the devil. They understand that they're not buying, oh, this is a war on drugs. Oh, they're saving, they're deporting people. Remember, more people were deported in the time of Obama, but people didn't notice. Now way less has been deported. But people are now standing up. Why? Because these enchantments are not working. They can't just lie, going around, oh, we need it for national security. For who? Not for us, because you haven't been for the people. So going back into the precepts the brothers get, let me grab this. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 10. Beat your plowshares into sword. So that's why now the nations, they understand every country has been a divide. And when that happened, so it's like 7 signs to know when when a empire is fallen. And all these nations have been preparing themselves since the 1970s, since the prophets have been on, as we said, proclaim thee among the nations. So when the prophets got on the scene, not, dudes be trying to claim it, well, we started it and all that stuff. Bullshit, the Heavenly Father did it. But going into it, that when the prophets got on the scene, 1960s, 1970s, you start seeing as what was China doing. They started preparing and strategically seeing that, oh, look at it. The European nations started strategically getting away from what the dollar was going to have. You see it, and what been happening after that. The fall of society, the losing of wars, the loss of empire, what happened to America, the fall of a currency, as they knew that they wouldn't be able to just go like what they did in Vietnam, that the people were completely against it. And Larry, whatever from Blackwater, just said it, that, the elites lost pretty much the trust of the public. So now, what are these nations doing? China, Russia? The reason why they're not moving the way as they said there should be a guard onto them, and they're not doing it by force, as Esau, Edom, in America, Babylon the Great has been doing. What was, Russians are Edomites too, but how Babylon, the king of Babylon has been doing it. But what were they doing? They say, if you don't do it, we're going to invade you. But these other nations, what have they been doing? They've been saying, hey, we can help you out. We can help each other out. We don't have to have the same ideology. We don't have to do that. We can benefit from each other. Your resources for art, barter for trade, gold for resources. Building trust that now these nations say, why would we even deal with America like that? We're going to continue. And this has been collapsing the system ever since. So going back into it, And then when they got that America hit the point that, it was done, the nations said, all right, man, we're, there. When a nation falls, no matter what throughout history, since Edomites have been in power, for a little, for their very small time, even from the nations that haven't, but especially Esau, as you've seen with Britain was, at the end, that was when they ultimately failed, that was Edomites in control. Spain, which that was an Edomite empire. What happened in Rome, Edomite empire. And Greece, every time a nation has failed, they have always went to war. And so now the nation said, all right, we know what's going to happen. And the prophets are out on the scene. We got to start, building our army up. We're not going to listen. And that's now why you see in China saying that we can't stand by a nation policing the earth. Which ultimately, they played, as the scriptures, they played a very, very, key role of having Esau Edom be exposed as the bully that he is. That they have smoked the nations continuous, as Russia. Russia didn't force nations on bending the knee. They said, well, you can't survive, we got you. Then now what happened now? Now the nations now trust it. Now China is the biggest trade partner in the world. Even before they have reached more capacity in oil than basically America. But see, Edomites are demons. So what is they said? They can't, they're sore losers. So what are they doing? Oh, we got to fight in a war. So this is how the Heavenly Father played it. Put them in their trap that these nations were going to destroy themselves. So going back into it. Proclaim ye, and he said, among the nations, prepare war. Going back into Joel, the 3rd chapter, verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords. So he said, man, the Heavenly Father put these nations that they're not focusing on feeding their people, not focused on, development in their economy. They're focused on protecting themselves, being able to go through and see, ultimately, being able to survive the coming disaster that everybody and every economist and any person that has any sense know that is coming very, very fast and hard too. Thus said the Lord that it was going to be a war that is going to end all wars of heathen. He said it was going to be World War III. And what is that going to do? It's going to, after the loss of this war, every weapon that these demons have from all these nations are going to be destroyed. And they're going to be put in continual slavery, and the nations shall learn war no more. So this is what they're getting prepared. But what they don't understand, the thing that's lost with them, is that we're going to rule. So and you're pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what's happened. See, it started, as these nations are just being, and see, if you look at how the American citizen looked at it. They said, oh, North Korea, what are these? Oh, they're just a terrorist state. Oh, these other nations. It started with nations that they started seeing the fall of this. We need to start, oh yeah, Iraq. Oh yeah, we see the U.S. dollar falling. Let's go into the euro. Libya, we need to make an African nation. African currency. And what did America do? They showed their weakness by forcing the nations and destroying the countries. The nations was like, hey man, if we try to even do anything on a failing state, we need to start making sure that we get nuclear weapons. We need to start making deals with other nations. We need to start getting out of this allyship with this country and pretty much protecting ourselves. So let's build up our arsenal. Let's build up our armory. See how the Heavenly Father works? See, people thought that America was showing it was strong, but it was showing it is weak. You can't beat everything and you can't fix everything with a hammer. Why? Because then imagine, have you ever seen building a house? Every nail you can't just push in with a hammer, because sometimes it bends. Then you bend it and it will never go in. You can hit it as hard as you can, and then that hammer is going to be see, let me grab it. How has the hammer See, the Heavenly Father had these devils in a trick bag, but now it's too late. Now it's no protecting them. Now they can't do nothing. Going back into it, I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 50. All the precepts that I got, Slakia. You know, it's different. You know, it's different when people write talking about the black woman. We're talking about prophecy. There's a lot of scriptures that go into it. It's all mixed. Going back into it. There's other people, they just be making up shit, you know, or just doing you know, their timely videos like, hey, you know, other people. No, we're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be going into prophecy. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? Why? Because it thought it can fix every problem as a hammer, that the nations lost trust. The nation said, oh, we need to start getting strong. We need to work and fix and getting strong enough that they're not as strong anymore. We need to protect ourselves. We need to gather the missiles. We need to do all these stuff because we know that this is not going to end well. See, this is what happened. That's how has Babylon become desolate? Why? Because the Heavenly Father has set forth missiles that it should never. I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 5, verse 9. Going back into it, Jeremiah 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come against Babylon a assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves array against her. For thence shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. So when an expert, you know, as people say, when an expert marksman has you on target, you're dead. You're already dead. They already have their eyes on they already have the missiles pointed. They already have it's targeted. They already know what they have to do. They already know how, you know, when they're panicking. So what is it? Like a mighty expert. When a marksman has you in its crosshairs, you're dead. None shall return vain. None of them shall return vain. I'm going to grab the precept the brother put. Actually, I grabbed it. In 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 13. For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows he shoot are sharp. So when an arrow is sharp, it's going through shit. You know, you can have armor. It's not, you know, as they said, they're golden dome. The armor is going to shoot through your armor. See, arrows, a lot of the time, will go and pierce armor. No, you know, and these ones are sharp. That is no armor that can protect you. So that golden dome is going to be through. That shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. It's already in its crosshairs. You know, this is an expert marksman. The Heavenly Father don't miss. You see how when he put the spirit on David, Goliath's head came off. Was ultimately, I mean, he hit him with that stone and it went smoothed him through his helmet, through his forehead, dead as hell, and he got his head cut off. But the Heavenly Father has this Babylon, this whore, in his crosshairs. It's through. Nothing's going to stop it. They shout him to the brother Nathan. You have to stop it. Also. And he said, and it shall not miss. When they shall begin to shoot into the end of the earth, so these nations already are prepared. They're like, all right, man, we're going to have to, you know, we know how this, see, if any person has ever went through history, these nations knew what, once you start going through the signs, when the economic upheaval, the loss of reserve currency, you know, the high level of immigration, these are a fall of an empire. They said, all right, you know, we know how this ends. Every country that has ever failed, first thing they do is try to use the sword to get back in power and steal resources. This is just history. So they said, all right, we might as well get ready. See, it's probably nation. See, this is the spirit. See, remember, just like people that don't understanding that people think that, because the only reason why you see some of these statistics about why these countries and how much they're spending, and they think that some of these economies, how are they surviving like Russia, is because through the SWIFT system, So they measure any trade would go through them, and they wouldn't have to estimate because they would know everything. But now, because of China and Russia and these other BRIC nations, people, they don't actually know, because now it's not going through the system. So now they can just guess. That's why they don't really know. They just know it's a shortage on some of these world earths. So, but that's also with these nations that have, see, if you go on Google, 10 nations have nuclear weapons. But in reality, the only reason why they even knew what nations had it, because they signed treaties. But now it's some nations you probably don't even know that been making nuclear weapons, because they knew what was going to happen. All these, it's probably a multitude of nations that you don't even know have nuclear weapons. You know, they say, oh yeah, well, we're trying to stop Iran. They've already had them. See, this is what the Esau Edom is telling. All of these nations had them. This is why the World Economic Order has been challenged for so long, that they didn't have them, but now they said, all right, we prepare war among the Gentiles. This is what's happening on earth. Going back, and they're about to shoot these things, and they're sharp. There's no defense system that's going to be able to stop it. And they're all pointed at America, Babylon the Great, and in those gutter rats that are in a sliver of the Holy Land, because they're not in it. They're in a little bit of piece of it, a little tiny little section of it. Because remember, the Holy Land, see, when you look at a map, a United States map, when you go into the globe, it is, or any map, is based off of white supremacy. See, just to let you know, but the Middle East and where the land we're going to have is massive. See, it makes it seem like this is all we're going to have, which we're going to have the earth, but, you know, in a tale of what was promised to us, which is the most important land through global dominance on earth, is there. We're going to have it. So, and these devils only have a tiny sliver of it, and that's the scriptures that they will never have the land if you go into their blessing. I mean, they said they shall have the sword, but they shall never have the land, basically, if you go into the NLT. And that's why they're mad. They never been able to have what we're going to have. We're going to have complete trade dominance of the earth and complete military control of the earth. It's going to be a dictatorship. Starting with Yahushua, you see people say that's evil. Actually, that's one of the most righteous empires you can have when it's in order. Governments you can have when it's in order. We're going back into it. That's why the Heavenly Father is preparing war. For his arrows shall shoot are sharp and shall not miss. When they begin to shoot into the earth, behold, the plagues are set. So that's why perplexity, see, the lack of resources are causing the nations to have to move hard. And they're seeing that now nations are fighting over, you know, the little, that tiny piece of this, as the Heavenly Father is, you know, he's chipping out of these resources surely and gathering these nations to continue to arm up for little tiny resources so they can even just feed their people. This is what's happening. So now what's going to happen? The plagues are set. Let's grab this precept. This is Zechariah chapter 9, verse 6. And a bastard to dwell in Ashdod. So Ashdod is a piece of the Holy Land. It's a devil in there right now, a deceiver that says that he is the people. And I will cut off their pride of the Philistines. And you see, and they get in. Well, ultimately, the real Philistines are the Hamites, the Sunnites. You know, a lot of these, a lot of them ran into the interiors of Africa too. You know, they went more south. But those are the actual Philistines, those tall, ugly motherfuckers. But you seeing that he's cutting the pride out of that land, because it has never actually had peace since we've been out of it. Since Israel has been out of that land, that land has been in a perpetual war ever since we had, and we'll never have peace until we have control. That's how powerful the Lord is. And he never gave peace in the Holy Land since the Israelites have left. The true Israelites, not the gutters. Lord willing. This is Psalm chapter 12, verse 8. and to the brother, Lord willing, to the brother Jonathan. And he says, Psalm chapter 12, verse 8, and the wicked walk on every side when the vile men are exalted. See, remember, and that's why these nations are such in it, as I started off with 2 Timothy 3rd chapter. You know, the reason why it's so bad is because everybody is self-preservation. Everybody's caring. These countries are only caring about their sovereignty. See, that's why they think that a capitalist government is the best government, which is not. When the capitalists are in control, the rich just continue to just devour the resources. A communist government would actually be better than it because it cares about the people, but it's still actually horrible. But because the Esau Edom can keep in control and they're being exalted as God, the so-called God's chosen people, everybody is wicked and everybody cares about, what I have and what I can give. Well, the Heavenly Father is showing you, see, this is what happens when people are in that spirit. Everybody goes a state of war through every fabric of life, from the civilian aspect of life, just the common day America. So everybody's in a competition and say, fucking everybody. You can't even go into traffic with someone trying to cut you up because it's a perilous time. To the countries. And now all these countries that even allies, as they supposed to say, are now cutting and doing things against each other. See, this was happening. And that's why the Heavenly Father needs to put order. Thus said the Lord. So let me grab some of these precepts. This is Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore hear the counsels of the Lord that he has taken against Edom. So he has put the spirit on them. That's why people say, dudes be getting on it, well, why are you always talking against Esau? Because the prophets that have been before me and of thee of old prophesy against many kingdoms. Who is in rulership? Who are we telling that they're about to fall? What is the future hold? What is the Heavenly Father talking against? Who shall stand up? This is why we're supposed to be going. This is why prophecy is the most important thing. The counsel against Edom, because that is the main goal on this thing, is the fall of our empires and the rising up of our people. That's why we rebuke our people. He said, show our people their transgressions. But then when we go into these things, we telling you, we have not a long time, because look what's happened against them. This devil has no power against us. Only the power that a Heavenly Father, as Yahushua said, only power is the ones that the Heavenly Father allows you. Oh yeah, you can write us traffic tickets, you can do all that stuff, but that's all you got. Oh, you can make us work, that's all you got. You still going into slavery, we're about to rule. That's what the Heavenly Father has had for us. So this is the counsel against him. And he said, and his purpose, that he has purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, which those were the modern day of these Teman would be the Germans. Those were the smarts of Edom. That's where the jet came from, the Germans. That's where a majority of the military technology, of the sword, really came from the Germans. So that's why the whole world had to jump them. And by the way, the Russians is the reason why the World War II. Remember, because they defeated 80% of the German army, especially when they went. The battle that foretold the end of the war was the Battle of Stalingrad. If anybody want to look that up, basically because they were already starved out anyway. But going up, they had military dominance at that time, and they were already weak by the time Normandy even happened. And America still got maxed up a little bit, and they had, but already a surrendering nation. Going back into it, he said, "Shall surely the least of the flock." So who is that? That's those gutter rats. So draw them out. See, this is crazy. We remember in Ukraine, those are gutter rats. Ukraine, all those stuff, those are gutter rats. But who been pushing for the issue and try to set forth their mission, the Greater Israel Project? These are these people that are in the Holy Land that are taking, trying to steal our identity. They have brought these nations out, but you see the Heavenly Father has caused it that because of their moves and how they were moving, and even especially at how it ended, that now these nations they're not buying it anymore. They said, all right, we have to protect ourselves. We have to go to war. These nations not saying, oh, if we're gonna, no, they have to go to war. That's why you're seeing these strategic partnerships against the Middle Eastern nations. Well, Middle Eastern meaning their direction, but those Ishmaelites, especially Ishmaelites and Elamites, are pretty much partnering with each other. As Saudi Arabia, Turkey, which those are Edomites, Ishmaelites, Assyrians, for the most part, sure, and then Pakistan, which those are Elamites. The stronger the Elamites. See, the Pakistani and Elamites are those are the royal class. Them in Iran are the royal class of Elam, and then the bottom class go to India. So this is the Heavenly Father is drawing these nations out, starting with the most hated nation He has ever hated, which is Edom. But the most hated of Edom are the Amalekites. We'll have perpetual war with them from generation to generation. Set up a banner. So you're seeing all these things happening, and thus said the Lord, He's about to end it. End heathen rulership and bring us up to speed, and we're going to have complete world dominance when we get in power. And nobody's going to be able to stop us. Thus said the Lord, and we're going to rule righteously. So, the Wadi Yahweh Shemel Shah. So with that, let me just check the comment board. Yeah, Lord willing, brother. To the brother Jacob Israel. Yeah, Rashta. Yeah. And these Salaki, I can't get all the precepts. You know how it is. Things is, but the water to all you brothers that put on precepts. That's as other guys say, oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And put it in as you put it in your brick too. So the water Yahweh Shemashah. With that, I'm gonna give all glory, honors, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, DTA, which is death to America, and the ball. Call me Yasharallah. Shalom.